Chubb's kind of like that floater in any situation where no matter what, he's always going to be a top guy. But
I would say this. I would rather have no eyes and be stranded on a deserted island somewhere with no food and no legs than draft David Njoku.
that's your opinion. Go for it.
Yeah. That's just what I feel.
You just
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first official episode of the Fantasy Buds podcast. I am your host, Brian Gold.
I am Tim Stewart.
then I'm Mark.
That's great.
You know, man, it didn't even
It
take you
is-
10 seconds to make fun of me.
It is Saturday, July 9th, 2022, and we are going to talk some fantasy. We all met through high school, and we started a league together that we're still doing to this day. We're approaching, this is our 10-year anniversary, showing up for our one league, and we've all won championships in that league. So I'm just rambling on if you two want to
You
add to
know,
that.
it's pretty amazing how we're going on 10 years in the same league, with pretty much the same group of guys. I mean, we've added some teams, obviously, but, we have pretty much the same core, And I mean, the fact that, we've all been able to win the titles and have all had success, so, it's pretty awesome. It's fun, just like to have that time where you get together every year, like we're all older now, we don't see each other at all. So get together, we see each other, we have fun, we laugh, we make fun of each other.
Yeah.
It's always a great time, man. The draft is so much fun.
And it's not even like it's one of those leagues where you just sit there and mess around the entire time. Pretty much everybody who's in the league knows what they're doing.
Oh, yeah, you can't mess around.
And it's one of
in
those
that.
leagues where if you mess around, you're not even going to
Can't fuck
sniff
up.
playoffs. So you got to be smart with what you're doing.
There's no fucking around in the free agency league, without a doubt, especially now at 14 teams. I hate that shit. Let me tell you, I hate
It's torture.
it. Is absolute fucking torture.
I mean, I missed the fucking playoffs for 4 straight years. at one point.
I get it.
Luckily, I won it this year.
Yeah, you
So-
you had your
I had my
victory lap this
15
year.
minutes of fame. So, anyway, we're from the Philadelphia area, New Jersey, but to others we say Philadelphia.
Yeah, we
area.
just say Philadelphia to sound
you just
cool.
say
but
Philadelphia to
it's-
sound cool, but
It's honestly South Jersey, to tell
Yeah.
you the truth. But we are
Anyway.
Philadelphia teams.
and we are huge Eagles fans. So for today's podcast, we are gonna dive into some Eagles players for fantasy, and we'll give our opinions and some stats on them, and we'll get
Do
started.
our thing.
I am going to start on a quarterback who has only played 19 career games and has finished as the QB1 in 11 of them. It is his third season going into his second year in the offense as a starter. I'm talking about Jalen Hurts, who could potentially be the quarterback one this year in fantasy.
It's bold.
He could be.
I like it.
And that's not a biased opinion, maybe a little bit, but I'll give you some numbers about him. He threw 16 passing touchdowns last year, and he was the QB9. And just adding A.J. Brown with also the number 1 offensive line ranked by Pro Football Focus, he's going to improve as a passer. I hope so. It's going to be his second year under Shane Steichen, and hopefully he makes improvements. Shane Steichen worked with Justin Herbert in 2020. So I'm hoping
They were 6th in passing yards that year, too,
they were.
under Shane Steichen. Now, I get it. Jalen Hurts is not Justin Herbert. But, even going to 10th in passing yards or even 12th. I mean, the Eagles were, 25th in passing last year? So, I mean, even a jump like that, would mean insane improvements for Jalen Hurts.
I feel like you also got to remember, too, a lot of them weren't really on, a lot of them weren't even really on Jalen Hurts. I mean, how many times when we were watching the games did we see Dallas Goddard or somebody drop a wide open touchdown?
Yeah, Goddard does
Yeah.
have some
Like,
drop issues.
I think Dallas Goddard dropped a total of, if I remember correctly, I think it was like 4 touchdowns. last year. 2 of them would have been game winning.
Oh, I definitely
And
remember
that's
one.
that's one of the things you have to take into account too, but it really does come down to if Jalen Hurts can learn not even to just, be an exceptional quarterback, if he can just throw like Kirk Cousins. He's a QB you throw in there, he's accurate, he doesn't throw a ton of picks, he's not gonna get you 30 touchdowns, but if he can just throw like that, I mean, with the 16 or with the 10 rushing touchdowns he had last year, he's gonna be up there. He'll definitely be top
I
5 without a doubt.
I will say I don't think he will have 10 rushing touchdowns in back-to-back seasons. I think that's not that number is gonna go down, but the passing
True.
should go up based
Uh,
on what he's had.
Absolutely.
But I will say from the season he had in 2021, only 6 quarterbacks had a better rushing season than Jalen Hurts, and that is the likes of Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick, Bobby Douglas. I have no idea who the fuck that is. He played for the Bears, but
That had to be one of those,
he
probably an
was
old school
he was
quarterback.
up there. Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, RG3, Randall Cunningham. All of them at some point were top 10 fantasy quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts was, like I said, he was the quarterback 9 last year. In Russell Wilson's 3rd season, Russell Wilson scored 327 fantasy points in a season. Lamar Jackson in his 3rd season, 332 fantasy points in his season. Randall Cunningham's 3rd season was 270 points in 12 games. Kyler Murray's 3rd season was 287 points in 14 games. Jalen Hurts' 2nd season, he scored 303 points in 15 games. And now going into his 3rd season, being on this list of quarterbacks, and we know what they've done in their career, at least early in their career. Rushing quarterbacks don't have a long shelf life. He has projections to take a leap and be in the top 3 in the running for the top 3 quarterbacks
Then, I mean,
in
rushing
fantasy.
quarterbacks are so valuable too. I mean, like, you can't really they will put up points for you, man. Like, I mean, even if they throw a couple picks, like Kyler Murray wasn't incredible last year, but in fantasy, man, he still put up some numbers, man. Like, because just like what they give you on the ground too, and it's like Jalen Hurts, like, like he's already shown he can do that. So, he can already give you value just as a rusher alone. He's done that. We've seen that already. What it's going to come down to is that even if he can throw 20 touchdowns, extra 22 touchdowns, a couple of those, a couple more touchdowns, I mean, you could really have something. I could definitely see him finishing as a top 5 quarterback, but I mean, it's a little bold, but I mean, I could
Well,
see it happening, but those guys give you value. I mean, you could be getting a guy who puts up Josh Allen like numbers, but you have to take Josh Allen in the 3rd round, even 2nd round, maybe, depending on your league. Jalen Hurts, you can get him at a great value.
yeah, I was just gonna say you can get him later. Like, he's probably going in the 6th or 7th round in most drafts, and you're paying up for Josh Allen in probably the 3rd round, possibly 2nd.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, he could go in that range, he's that good. I mean,
he is
Pat
amazing.
Mahomes is expensive,
Yeah.
Justin
Yeah.
Herbert's expensive,
Yep.
Jalen Hurts, he's going after those guys.
Lamar Jackson is gonna be expensive as well, and I mean, I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of Lamar Jackson this season, but still, I mean, because I mean, is gonna be a big price tag on him this year. People are expecting him to have a huge
I
year.
mean, Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson wasn't a great passer,
No,
and
not one
then
bit.
he wins the MVP in his 2nd year. So, and I don't see why Jalen Hurts can't do something similar. I wouldn't say I'm not gonna project him to have a historic season, but he's gonna have improvements, and I don't know, what do you think, Tim?
No, I mean, yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to be anything historic. I mean, but it also comes down to, are we talking about top 5 fantasy quarterbacks in general, or are we talking about top 5 fantasy rushing quarterbacks?
Just in general, I
Just in
mean,
Because if
general.
we're going off of in general,
It's
the way that
all the points count.
right, that's true. The way I think about it, though, if I'm going off of that, I definitely see him top 5. Top 3, I feel like it's going to be a little bit hard because Josh Allen's probably going to finish the QB1. And then you got to figure you still got, even though points wise, QB is going to take hits. I highly doubt Patrick Mahomes is going to be as bad as Patrick Mahomes was last year. Last year, with the amount of picks he threw, even though it wasn't a ton, that's still an off year. But at the same time, it really comes down to I see him probably definitely finishing top 5 if he can become a decently accurate quarterback.
I don't know though because Mahomes just lost Tyreek, and now his number one wide receiver is Juju now, and I mean he still got Kelsey, sure, but I mean the Chiefs' running game is not great. Their offensive line is not great. I can see Mahomes
No.
not being great
No,
this
you're
year.
right.
Like
You're
I
absolutely
can
right. And that's what I mean when it comes down to the variables of like how QBs are going to play. Because it's really hard for, I mean, at least for me in my case, it's hard for me to sit here and look at what Jalen Hurts did and be like, okay, he's going to go from, yeah, he was the QB9. But it's going to be really hard to jump from the QB9 to the QB, like a top three
But to
QB.
be honest though, if you're drafting the QB, say he finishes in the QB 7 through 9 range again, if you draft that in the 8th
Oh, it's
round,
a
that's
steal.
awesome
It's a
value. You know,
steal if you're getting that in the eighth round.
that's great value for him. I think I definitely agree with Hurts. I definitely think I mean, obviously the QB1, that's his absolute ceiling, but I definitely agree he could take a big leap and be great without a
Mm,
doubt. He's definitely got the work ethic to do it. We've seen that.
yep.
I mean, if you take him in the 6th or 7th round and he turns out to be the quarterback 2 or 3, like, are you gonna be mad with that?
No, that's
No,
incredible
not at
value
all.
because
Not at all.
you're still not having to take, a Josh Allen or a Lamar,
I think
earlier.
if you build your team up correctly around Jalen Hurts and he takes that leap, he can I think you could definitely see him on a lot of championship teams this year
Without a
in
doubt.
fantasy.
Oh, 100%.
I definitely agree with you, especially if you go, running back early, you get your big guns early. You don't go Josh Allen or Mahomes or anybody like that. You kind of not punt quarterback, but like, you're not afraid to,
Take a shot.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
definitely.
it's all one big shot. I mean, it's pretty much a crapshoot at some point later in the draft. So you just got to take your shots.
Yeah, and I mean, the Eagles were already 12th in points per game last year, just total points per game. Now you add AJ Brown to the mix. You add another, off season of Devontae to the mix. Like who knows? I'm sure Goddard, will take a little bit of a leap too. So, you already have the number one offensive line in the league. You have a good running game no matter who the running back is. We've seen that. The Eagles could be a damn good fantasy team this year. Like, I mean, I don't know if anybody's really going to take over and dominate. Like, but I mean, especially Jalen, like he could really like.
I believe in him because the Eagles have the second easiest schedule in the
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do.
they
the
do.
league.
They do have another thing too. About their schedule, they actually have the seventh easiest schedule against receivers as well, which is pretty big for AJ and Devontae.
But honestly, even as an Eagles fan, I think AJ Brown is off my board.
Yeah, I'm
Agreed.
not really crazy about him.
Absolutely agreed.
I just think of where you have to draft him. It's too like you're better off taking Devontae in round 6 or 7.
I think so.
Because AJ Brown, he was the wide receiver. Last year he was the I'm sorry, this season he's ranked as the wide receiver 11. So borderline top 10, top 15 player. So you're gonna have to pick him in like the beginning of the third round. And to be honest, even like our 1 league is 14 teams.
Yeah.
You might have to take him in the second round if you really love him that much.
And that's way too high. Way too high.
He's also had
Yeah.
2 years in a row of missing time with injury. He's also finished on a top 24. He's only finished as a top 24 receiver on a per game basis 1 time in the past 3 years. So every year he's in the league, there's only 1 time he's done that.
Hmm.
On it, so his red zone touchdown percentage was very low last year. Like for a big body, you expect that to be a little higher. You know, he would, and it's like coming from Tennessee where he had a massive target share, and now he's coming here. He had a 27% target share in Tennessee. He's not getting that here. Devontae had 22% last year. And he was our only wide receiver
Yep.
you could really count on. So he's due. Like, I mean, regression is. I mean, I honestly think it's imminent. I think it's. I think it's easily a sign of regression.
Now, I will admit there is a world where Jalen Hurts makes this magical leap and AJ Brown is a wide receiver 1. He's a top 10 wide receiver 1. And I just there is a possibility for that, but I just don't really see that for the price of his ADP. In the 3rd round, I think it's a little too expensive for me.
Yeah,
Right.
you're taking a really big hit because it's like you said. I mean, to be honest, this is probably the best situation AJ Brown's been in offensively. I mean, he's only been on the Tennessee Titans, and they have Derrick Henry and him pretty much. That's it. Now he comes to a team where there's other targets around him. I mean, Tennessee had an okay tight end last year, but now you have Dallas Goddard, who's been pretty much in the top 15 for fantasy tight ends since he came into the league.
I mean, I will say Dallas Goddard is definitely better than anybody the Titans have
That's
right
what I'm
now
saying. And
at
then he's
tight
also
end.
next to another top-notch wide receiver in Devontae Smith. So now, like you said, it could be he's not going to get the same target share, but defenses now have to cover 3 guys instead of just him.
That is true, but I will say though, Ryan Tannehill statistically is more accurate than Jalen Hurts is. So that's the thing. You really are counting on a leap from Jalen Hurts' arm. And we've all seen, like, he has like the drive to do it, but it's just like if he really can do it.
Well, can I butt in real quick? I think the problem with Jalen Hurts is, well, when talking about the passing with the wide receivers, is he's going to run the ball over 100 times in a season.
Yeah.
Yep.
He already did that last year.
He runs the ball probably 7 to 10 times a game, and that takes away from A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Dallas Goddard, and any passing to the running back. So, because he's a rushing quarterback, and I don't know. I just can't buy into A.J. Brown. Like, there's other receivers I would like that are going to be on losing teams that will pass more and get more targets.
Yeah, like guys in that range, like I'm taking CeeDee Lamb 100% over AJ Brown. There's just guys in that range I way rather have. Like even Mike Evans, I'd probably rather
put
take.
Amari Cooper up there.
I just
No, because, well, if Deshaun Watson is suspended,
yeah, I don't know. We don't
that
we
whole
don't know,
offense
yeah.
True.
outside of Chubb is off my board.
To be even Chubb might take a little hit this year because like if Deshaun Watson doesn't play, man, like I really
I mean, he's
feel
been playing
like
with Baker.
Who's the
No, but, like,
starting
I really
quarterback
feel
if Deshaun
like-
Watson doesn't start?
I don't know.
What?
Who's even the starter for Cleveland?
Oh, Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right. I forgot.
I was about to say that.
So he's still fucking hanging in there.
Yeah, I mean, the Jacoby Brissett's not the worst
He's
option.
he's a good backup.
Yeah, like he's
So in other words, what I just heard is Cleveland's David Njoku's ADP kind of just shot up.
David
If Jacoby
Njoku.
Brissett's the starter.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No.
You think so?
Jacoby Brissett.
Get it out.
Thank you. He throws the tight ends a lot. Jack Doyle had one of his best years when he was chilling over there on the Colts for a little bit. That's what I'm
But
saying. And every team he goes to,
Jack
wasn't
Doyle.
wasn't Andrew Luck still the quarterback when Jack Doyle was good that
it was
year?
the year it was Jack Doyle was good with Andrew Luck, and then it was the year when Andrew Luck retired. Jack Doyle, he wasn't
the
great.
year he retired.
He had
I
an
forgot.
okay year.
Yeah, I forgot about the
Because
year.
Jacoby Brissett is one of those, oh, wow, everything's covered, bailout, and the bailout's always the tight end. So
Well, I
I'm
mean, I
not
will
out
say
here
he's
saying
not,
take David
like-
Njoku high, but
But I mean, like
he's out
Amari
there in like
Cooper.
the 10th round or the 9th round.
What you're saying though is you like Amari Cooper. Is what you're saying.
I feel like the
I'll
tight
say
end is going to
this.
be more useful in Cleveland. I feel like the two people that are going to benefit if Deshaun Watson's out. If Deshaun Watson plays, it's Amari Cooper. If Deshaun Watson doesn't play, it's going to be the tight end and Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's kind of like that floater in any situation where no matter what, he's always going to be a top guy. But
I would say this. I would rather have no eyes and be stranded on a deserted island somewhere with no food and no legs than draft David Njoku.
that's your opinion. Go for it.
That's just what I feel.
You just
It's Cleveland extended him for a reason.
I'm not a big
I
fan
just
of
think he stinks.
I'm not a big fan of Cleveland's offense in general, to tell you the truth, this season. I mean, the Kareem Hunt still exists. I mean, like
True.
he's gonna be there to be annoying, you
I-
know, and like he has fantasy value on his own. But like obviously, like, if you have Nick Chubb, he's annoying. But
Yeah.
he has fantasy value on his own also. But I don't think either one of them, it's not enough to warrant taking them where you have to. Like
I don't think so.
the upside you get with both of them,
Yeah.
I don't think it warrants their price tag because Nick Chubb, it's still the second round. And to be honest, man, like, I'm taking DeAndre Swift, you know, 100% over Nick Chubb.
Oh, 100%.
Well, if
Right.
we're talking about running back,
Javante, 100%.
Devontae 100. Why don't we talk about the Eagles backfield?
Oh, yeah.
Not going near it with a 10-foot pole.
I don't know.
I
I understand.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from. So the Eagles backfield in 2021, they had 550 rushes. They rushed for 2,700 2,715 yards, and they scored 25 touchdowns on the ground in 2021. So if you think about what they did on the defense, they added Hassan Reddick, James Bradbury, Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis. You're adding all these players to your defense and you're improving it, which is probably going to lead to more turnovers, more stops, more sacks.
Jaquiski Tart too.
Oh,
Him
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we
I
just got
completely
him.
forgot
Yep.
about him.
Fixes the one issue they had at safety too.
We already have Darius Slay. We
Yep.
have Brandon Graham coming back. Fletcher Cox is still there, even though he had a down year. He's still there. We're going to have more turnovers and stops that will leave more scoring opportunities for the offense. That's why that's why I was more high on Jalen Hurts.
Mhm.
Because I think with the easy schedule they have and the improved defense that they have, like I think they might have the best defense
No, they definitely.
on paper
Yeah, I agree. They definitely do because I mean,
in the
going off.
NFC East.
Oh yeah,
And
Well,
going
I
off
would
of what
say
you
that's not
said.
too hard to do.
Not
Going
too
off
hard
you
to do.
said, you got to think though. The Eagles, going back to what you said about the turnovers, they had a total of 7 interceptions last year as a team,
Yeah.
and one guy was responsible for 3 of them.
We didn't have a lot of sacks
And we
either last
improved.
year.
The team leader in sacks was split between 2 guys. It was Sweat and it was Hargrave. They both had 7.5.
Yeah, which is like okay, which is good. Like it's okay, but it's not enough. Like obviously the Eagles have always had a good defensive line. And it's kind of always it seems like it's something they pride themselves in, to be honest. Like they're
It's just their
always
philosophy.
yeah,
That's what they do.
they always want to build the
Offensive line and
trenches.
defensive line, trenches win. So that's what they think. But anyway, with all these, additions to the defense and what potentially it's going to be is obviously creating more scoring opportunities. Sanders is a man who scored 0 touchdowns. He had a donut.
Mm-hmm.
He scored 0 touchdowns last year.
Donut.
And he played, I don't remember the number of games. I think he played 13 or 14.
Yep.
Something like that. 0 touchdowns. And I think that's obvious. There's going to be positive touchdown regression. And he's going late, like probably 7th, 8th, 9th round, maybe. I think he possibly could be a value later in the draft. I know you say you wouldn't touch him. I don't blame you.
The only
but
reason I say I wouldn't touch him is because I'm really not trying to have Miles Sanders break off a 95-yard run just for Jalen Hurts to steal the touchdown.
that
Because
does
when you think
happen.
about it, that's really what happened a lot last year was Miles Sanders would take a few carries, get them down the field. Once they got inside the red zone or inside the 15, it was touchdown, Jalen Hurts, and that's all it was. And that's the issue that I have with it. It's not saying that Miles Sanders is bad. I mean, he's a decent running back. It's just he's not, after what happened last year with getting no touchdowns, it's one thing if you get like 1 to 3, but if you're getting no touchdowns, that's an issue.
But I will say like that has to have some positive regression though, right?
I'm saying
Like-
it's possible because I think he kind of does stink, but I think he will have the opportunity to do things in this offense,
like there's-
especially with the improvements that they've made.
There's no way he scores 0 touchdowns
Because
again.
It's
this
not like they
season.
added anybody else.
True.
They got rid of Jordan Howard. That also frees up 87 carries in the backfield.
True.
They didn't add anybody. They added an undrafted, what was it, Kennedy Brooks? I think that was his name.
I think so. They didn't draft anybody.
Undrafted free
Yeah.
agent.
They didn't sign any
Boston Scott.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. So he's still there. They free up nearly almost 100 carries in the backfield. That's got to go to some. Oh, I'm sorry, Gainwell. Gainwell's still there. I don't think Gainwell's going to take over the spot.
I think it's just them too, though, right? It's just Sanders
those
and
two.
Gainwell. Yeah.
Sanders and Gainwell.
I don't think Gainwell did enough last year to really show to really automatically be the guy to have behind Miles Sanders.
I don't think so either.
Really, he didn't play that much, and even when he did, he had a lot of fumbles, drops, and they used him as a receiving back primarily, a couple drops, some fumbles, I mean, I don't really think he did enough to really prove he's the guy to have right now behind Miles Sanders. I mean, Miles Sanders should still be, I don't want to say a bell cow, but he's going to get most of the work unless he gets hurt, which he does do that often.
So last year, Gainwell out-targeted Sanders 50-34. Like, I think he's going to get a lot of the passing work. And Sanders, he's just going to get first and second downs.
Yeah.
Possibly goal line. I don't know. I mean, do you think they would give that to Gainwell?
Like I said, I don't think he did enough to
Like,
really.
they all the Eagles running backs are kind of fucking mid. Like, they're just.
And
They really are, man.
that's why I'm saying I feel like Jalen Hurts is going to be stealing a lot of the touchdowns. Because I mean, even if Miles Sanders is probably the one that gets the goal line work. Truthfully,
Well,
I
I
mean,
don't
there's
know
no
who
way they
else.
give it to Gainwell.
I don't
There's
know who
no
else would. Like, who else would? Like, who else is there to get the goal line work right
Exactly,
now?
they have nobody. So it has no choice. It would have to be Miles Sanders to get the goal line work.
I could easily see Jalen Hurts getting 10 rushing touchdowns again this year. I know you
I
said
don't
something
know.
about that earlier, but I can really
I just
see.
feel like it's very hard for a quarterback to do it back to back.
It is, but think about it though. Think about what we just talked about with how mid our fucking backfield is. Like, Miles Sanders did just score 0 TDs last year. Even if it is positive regression, like I said earlier, that could be 3 touchdowns. That's still not good. So it's like Jalen Hurts can still easily repeat a 10 touchdown year. Like, I don't think there's
Yeah.
there's not much challenging him for those rushing touchdowns. Like, because let's face it, he's great at extending the play. I mean, I saw plenty of times last year how awesome he was at getting out of the pocket. Sometimes he would break out a little too early, but he's still young. But like, I see it there. Like, I see the potential there. Like, he definitely showed a couple flashes, especially of like his mobility. He looked like diet Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
Diet Russell Wilson.
I want to
Yeah.
say, like, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to compare him to Russell. I'm not trying to say he's Russell Wilson, but he like Russell Wilson, like he looked like Russell Wilson with his like escape ability and like extending the play. Now that Russell Wilson's got a cannon. That guy throws the best deep ball, dude. That now Jalen Hurts doesn't have the arm, but the mobility he's got.
I feel like his arm's a little underrated.
I mean, he can
sling that son of a bitch. Don't worry.
he
but
can load it up. He can launch it like a little bit. He's just not very he's not accurate.
I was
is
about to
his
say, it
issue.
doesn't really
Dude.
matter if you launch it. If the dude ain't catching it, it don't matter.
I
His
fucking love watching the games, and like the old heads are like, "This guy fucking stinks.
Yeah.
Get him off the field."
Dude, my grandpa's like, "You stink. Get
Like,
out.
old Philly
Get out."
fans
He
are
says,
The
brutal.
Get
worst.
out.
Brutal.
"Oh,
They
dude,
are
fucking
brutal.
South Philly Italians, man.
Oh, your fucking household
Oh my god,
during
dude,
the games.
nobody shuts the fuck
Your
up,
grandfather,
man.
he's like, what a goddamn dope this guy
What a
is.
dope. This guy fucking stinks. He's just like, get out.
Oh, man.
Get out. Get the fuck out of here.
He watches the Phillies. He's just like, how you swing at that? He's like, I fucking hear him from my room, yo. He lives with us. He's very cynical about the Eagles. It's because all he ever knew was losing, and like he couldn't even believe we won the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I still don't think he could. Like, all he ever knew was just Donovan McNabb, and just his whole life was losing.
That's pretty much all Philly fans.
Honestly, yeah, it's pretty rough to be. I mean, like the Eagles are kind of our only hope right now. I mean, I like the Sixers.
I think the Sixers are, I mean, I'm not talking about the Sixers right now.
No,
I
I'm
think
just
I
saying,
think the
like,
Eagles
yeah,
can
I was
win the
just-
East.
Yeah.
Because I think all the other teams, Cowboys, Giants, and
Oh
Commanders.
no, yeah, the Eagles on paper, I don't see why they can't win the NFC East. I mean, like the Cowboys will obviously challenge them
Like the fraud
100%.
boys.
Well, look, I'm not saying they're gonna like do anything in the playoffs because we know they never do. But I
It's
mean,
going to be between the Eagles and Cowboys.
yeah, like
It has
the
been.
Cowboys will challenge us for the division. Their defense is gonna get way better. I mean, like you got another year of improvement from Micah Parsons. I mean, he's the guy's a complete fucking anomaly. Like I've never seen anybody like Micah Parsons before. So
I mean, we got probably 4 or 5 games like against the Cowboys and Giants and Commanders where our offensive line, which is probably number 1 in the NFL, is just going to maul these guys and like just gash them in the run game. So I don't know. Gainwell, I'm more interested in Gainwell. He's going in like round 12 to 13.
yeah,
Like,
he's
going late as
he's
fuck.
free almost. You know,
Surprised he's
like
even getting drafted. Truthfully.
it's
Like
really
he's a guy I don't mind at the end of the draft.
just because of his
Well,
receiving.
I guess
like,
maybe as a handcuff too if you get Miles Sanders. Seeing as how he
Maybe.
dies every other day probably go ahead and draft him
Yeah,
just to
dude,
be
he had like
safe.
no ankles last year.
Yeah, every time you went to go start him, it was either Q, D, every single time.
Oh, dude, Miles Sanders. I had Miles Sanders in the free agency league last year. Dude, every single week he was hurt. Like
All it
like you
is.
didn't
It's
know
my
if he was gonna
favorite
play or
fucking
not.
thing when you get to a certain point in the year, and it's just Q, like P, Q, Q, O, D, like
Remember
just
the one?
fucking
Were you the one?
suspended.
Were you the one last year whose everybody on their bench had a letter next to their name?
No, I think
Who
that was
was that?
Matt. That might have been Matt last year. Well, it's usually Big B. Yeah.
No, I know it was me 2 years ago in the free agency league. Christian McCaffrey died. I had like 5 O's on my bench and then 2 D's. It was
Do
brutal.
you remember the one year in the free agency league, Nick changed his team name? It was like P's and Q's or something because
Yeah.
his whole team was just questionable.
But yeah, no, actually going back, because it actually kind of just reminded me. Going back to what you said about with Jalen Hurts and how he plays, they improved their defense. They still made playoffs last year.
Mhm.
So if anything, the improvements of their defense, even if Jalen Hurts, let's say Jalen Hurts takes no improvement at all and he plays the exact same, their defense got better, which means you're still probably going to win the same amount of games, if not more, especially considering how easy the schedule is. Because the number one team that gave Jalen Hurts the most difficulty last year, if I remember correctly, it was the Buccaneers. Pretty sure that was the team where he played
Oh, yeah.
his worst game by far.
I mean, yeah, he
And
did
you
not
can't
look
even really blame
good.
him for that because they arguably have about 3 Hall of Famers on that defense alone.
We'll see
Not
what
talking
happens.
about the offense that they have.
Yeah, well, I will say this was my worry about Jalen Hurts is that the Eagles could totally fucking suck this year
Yeah.
if defenses take the tape from the Buccaneers game in the playoffs and they completely figure out Jalen Hurts. Like, that is my worry.
No,
Like, that there's a chance that he just flat out fucking can't play.
there could be. I definitely think there's a chance.
I feel like
But
it's slim, though.
to be honest, I think he just works too hard. Like, you
Yeah.
could tell the guy's a workhorse.
No,
like,
he's a workhorse. I mean, still, there's lots of guys that every guy in the NFL works hard. Like, you can't
yeah,
be
to a
there
certain
without
degree.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
you
To a certain
obviously have
degree.
to work hard. Yes.
But I
But-
feel like Jalen Hurts isn't like. I would agree with you 100% if Jalen Hurts came across as one dimensional, but he doesn't seem like he's one dimensional.
No,
He's not like, and
he just needs
again,
time to grow.
not trying to be a hater or anything, but really, when you look at it, Lamar Jackson, he's better at running than he is throwing.
Well, yeah. I mean, everybody
Granted,
knows
last year,
that.
Hollywood Brown decided to drop like I think it was like a total of 7
Oh,
touchdowns.
dude, he dropped so many.
But at the same
touchdowns
time,
this year.
it's like when you watch Jalen Hurts, you look at his arm and you go, okay, the arm's there. With Lamar Jackson, it's like he doesn't even think to throw. It's more, okay, I'm going to wait, look 2 seconds. If my primary guy's closed off, I'm just going to take off and go. And I feel like that's the issue is that Jalen Hurts is very not one-dimensional.
Well,
Lamar Jackson's more towards the one-dimensional line. Like if Lamar Jackson went up against that Buccaneers defense, oh, God.
Lamar really does have a cannon. They just don't really let him throw that much.
But is it that they don't let
Like,
him throw that much, or is he's choosing to do
I
it?
will say he is not the most accurate. Like, he has some accuracy issues too, but he does have a cannon. Lamar, like I've seen him load it up and throw bombs before.
He can,
does.
He can
He can-
sling it.
Especially to Hollywood Brown when he was still there. Like, I mean, yeah, like Hollywood had some drop issues. So Lamar could have thrown like 5 or 6 more touchdowns to Hollywood Brown last year, if he didn't drop them. So I think Lamar's arm is getting better. But I mean, like Hurts though, like we've seen he tries to throw. Like, so the effort is there at least. Like he's making an effort to improve that. Like he's at least trying to throw
Right.
that. It doesn't always look pretty last year, but he would still try.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, I think this is an important thing to note about the running backs. There's only been 100 targets distributed among 5 of them from like when Jalen Hurts was playing. Only 100 targets between 5 running backs.
Mm.
So maybe like they're really only valuable if you get them super late,
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be tough to.
and they got to
count
be
on
like
them.
your third or fourth guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't be starting Miles Sanders every single week with confidence.
But they're interesting to look into because it's the number one offensive line. There's gonna be rushing success.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of who's gonna be doing it. So I don't know.
I mean,
that's just my opinion.
yeah, I mean, hey, like, they already were the #1 rushing offense last season. So, I mean, like, you obviously, like, you wanna have a running back from the #1 rushing, attack in the league. So, but, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, if you could actually grab Miles Sanders, I mean, I don't know, like, there's a lot of guys that probably take over him in, like, the round 4 to 5 range, but if you drop below that, I mean, he's gonna get a lot of carries. Like, if you're drafting Miles Sanders in, like, the 6th, 7th round, like, you can't complain if he's gonna get, like, over 200 carries or even close to 200. Now, I don't know, he probably won't just because he's kinda proven he can't play a full season.
Yeah.
Like, we've kinda seen that.
He also can't be the 3-down role.
No, because
No.
drops
he's
and
fragile
fumbles.
too, like, and you're right about the drop issues,
Like, we don't really
100%.
have anybody that can carry that kind of load, that kind of workload.
Yeah, I mean, and
I don't think Gainwell can. I don't
no,
think he has the
God,
build.
no.
he 100% can't, like, unless a guy comes out of nowhere for us, like, unless, our undrafted free agent turns into James Robinson again or something, but
I'd be surprised.
yeah, because James Robinson was, I think, the first guy to ever do that, what he did.
He literally was.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
like, who knows when we'll see that again. That's
We'll
crazy.
probably I want to talk about James Robinson for a sec. I thought that was so fucking shitty when they drafted Travis
Oh, dude, it was
Etienne.
so fucking shitty.
It's like, dude, like, you're just gonna put him on the back burner now, James
yeah,
Robinson,
like,
and then you draft this guy. He tore his Achilles, right? Was it his Achilles or ACL?
I'm pretty sure
think
he
it-
tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
And then he was out for the whole year. But
It
to
might
be,
have been an ACL.
Well, I know now that they're talking about that they might just move him to a wide receiver. They've been thinking about that.
I could see him being
So-
in like the Naheem Hines role,
Yeah.
kinda for them.
That would be
Because I'm sorry, but if you got James Robinson, okay, if you put James Robinson on the Eagles,
Behind our number
Behind
one
our offensive
ranked
line?
offensive line. Yeah.
that's
I mean,
scary.
he-
Granted, the Jaguars can't do anything right because they're the Jaguars, but
yeah, like the Jaguars I feel like they just sit in the room and they're like, all right, what's the wrongest thing
Exactly.
that we can do? And then they do it. Like, because I mean, James Robinson, like, you rush for 1,000 yards as an undrafted free agent rookie, and then you draft a running back in the fucking first round after, I mean, I get it, maybe because it's like
scumbag.
Trevor Lawrence's guy or whatever, but in the first round, like, I honestly, like, I'm not like a big advocate for first round running backs anyway, but like, I mean,
I think it's silly.
yeah, like, I feel like you can get so much value. I mean, like, look at Nick Chubb, look at Alvin Kamara, look at Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, all these guys is proven. So Jonathan Taylor, there's just times you don't have to take these guys in the top 10.
Nope.
Like, it's just,
I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like fading running backs in first rounds anymore. Just with injuries and how they split up the work now. Like, there's not many guys where they get every single touch in the backfield
Yeah.
anymore.
that's why I'm a big advocate for first round fantasy running backs, because I feel like, you got to get that guy early because the drop off is very
Yeah.
significant.
Like, we grew up like in this fantasy era when it was at the tail end of that era, like where there was the 3-down backs.
yeah.
We were drafting like Matt Forte, Jamal Charles,
AP,
Adrian
still.
Peterson.
Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Foster for that hot minute when he was really, really good.
Arian
Arian
Foster.
Foster.
You drafted his
in the
ass.
4th round, and
in
I
the
didn't know
4th
he
round.
was hurt.
And he was fucking
He was
hurt.
fucking
Man
hurt.
comes back,
You
drops
moron.
26 points, same
You-
game, walking after the line,
fucking-
just tears his ACL again. That was it.
You silly fucking. And the one year when you drafted 3 tight ends in a row
Yeah.
in the TJ League,
Yep.
fucking Matt Lacoste.
That
Because
was
all the
just
good tight ends were
disgusting.
gone. I had
I
no
don't know what
choice.
you were
Every
thinking
tight end
there.
that I
So
thought was going to
3
be out
dart
there.
throws in a row.
Just
Terrible.
dart throw
Hate to say it.
for you.
Absolute dart throws.
But yeah, I mean, like, I feel like getting that guy early is important because, like, the drop off, it's crazy. Like, it's a very significant drop off. And it's like, yeah, like,
There's a huge drop off. Because it's like you said, there really is, like Brian said, there's really only 2 guys in the league who get 3-down work.
Yeah.
It's Derrick Henry and Christian
like,
McCaffrey when he's healthy.
pure, like, don't come off the field. Like, I mean, like,
Najee Harris.
Najee Harris, but I mean, like,
Well, he had 1 year.
I will say
That's
that
don't
why.
think- well,
Mike
You're not
Tom,
wrong.
I don't
Mike
think it's gonna
Tomlin,
change.
Mike
True.
Tomlin running backs that were just proven time and time again. I mean, like, look at Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon
That was
Bell.
another name back in the day.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell was, oh man, I remember I had him on my team 1 year in the TJ League, and man, he was incredible, man. Like you can count on him for at least 20 every single week. Like it was
Jamal Charles.
automatic. Yeah, like when Big
Jamal
B took
Charles
him and
went
he got hurt.
nuts, dude. He was insane.
Big B took him first overall, and he tore his
Tore his knee up.
yeah, he tore his ACL half of the year.
Remember, God, Matt Forte.
Yeah,
He was a fantasy
I
monster.
I love
dude.
Matt Forte, man. He was
Matt
my
Forte was a fantasy monster.
Matt Forte was my first round pick the year that I won the TJ League, or I'm sorry, the free agency league.
Yeah, but you also love Danny Woodhead too.
Danny Woodhead was
'Cause he would
great
just
for
get
fantasy.
he would just
man.
get
He was
none but
just
catches.
catch
That's all.
machine, man.
Catch machine.
You could get him later in drafts. You can get him at a value normally. He was always. You could count on him to catch the ball.
Just-
Philip Rivers would always dump him the ball off.
Most overrated quarterback in the NFL history. I can't
I
believe
don't
he's
know.
going to be a Hall of Famer.
Does he have over like 400 passing touchdowns?
He does have a lot. I mean, like, he has a
I mean,
lot
he
of
just
yards.
has numbers, but he didn't fucking made the playoffs like what, 3 times, 4 times. He played 20 years, and that's how many times you make the playoffs.
Great quarterback, not a winner. Though I guess you
Yeah,
could
a winner.
say. I mean,
I
like,
don't know.
I guess he hasn't that much to show. I mean, he has the numbers, but I guess in terms of accolades, he doesn't really
What's the
have
Hall
that.
of Fame? Like, don't you want your guys to have like all these championships and all these MVPs and everything?
True.
I mean, what's the standard anymore? Just be like, oh, this guy just put up numbers.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Namath's in the Hall of Fame.
Hmm?
And Joe Namath's in the Hall of Fame, and he didn't
I will
really
say, I feel like that's just because it was a different time.
That was a different time,
Like
though.
Joe Namath was probably
He was the first quarterback to throw 4,000 yards. If you didn't
True.
know that,
That's true.
Yeah, like if Joe Namath played now, he would be like Deshaun Kaiser. You know, like if he
Oh,
played
he
now.
fucking
The
stink.
Sean.
You know,
Kaiser.
yeah, like he
Good
probably
Lord.
like nobody would. He probably wouldn't be that good. Like back then, it was just there was a different standard for quarterbacks back then. It was a running league. You know, it's a passing league now. I mean, like you got Mahomes throwing passes behind his back, and now
True.
and with his left hand while falling down. You know, like
It's
back
definitely
then,
a passing league now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, you got guys who could throw the ball like 70 yards.
That's why
now.
I'm considering like receivers in the first round now. At this point, just get the best receivers that are there.
I don't blame
I feel like
you.
it comes down to your
just-
pick.
Yeah,
Because like if
I
you have a
agree.
top 3 pick, going off of what Mark said, if you have like a top, even a top 4 pick, if you have a top 4 pick, you kind of have to take a running back because by the time it comes back to you, you're drafting Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, because I will say too, like none of these receivers too are like, except Cooper Kupp, definitely. But we'll see if what he'll do this year. Like if
Yeah.
he can keep being like, I was gonna bring up Antonio Brown because like back when he was in his prime, man, he was like you would consider him if you had the first pick every
Yeah.
single year, like you would because he was automatic. Like so, like, if Cooper Kupp, I feel like the only guy that can really be like that is Cooper Kupp. Like even as awesome as Justin Jefferson is, like I don't see him being like AB was. Like just, I mean, look, I mean he did just go crazy last year, so who knows? I mean, like I would love to see that out of him. I mean, but
You could always say Devontae Adams is up there too, but I just don't trust Derek Carr.
I just don't even know what the Raiders are gonna. I don't know what their
Exactly.
offense is gonna be like because they already have Darren Waller, and Darren Waller struggled with injuries last season.
Yep.
You know, struggled just honestly in general last season. You know, he didn't even get a lot of targets when he played. You know, so I mean, I don't know. I don't know. The Raiders are a tough team to predict. I will say. I mean, I like Hunter Renfrow because of where you can pick him, where you can draft him, but I mean, Josh Jacobs. You know,
If I end up with Josh Jacobs in any league, I think I might jump off my roof.
he's a very boring player, Josh Jacobs.
No, he's done. I think they're gonna be split using a committee now.
Do you think they're gonna go committee?
Who's the other running back that they have?
They still have Kenyon Drake or no?
No, he
Oh
left
no.
long
He
ago.
went to. Where did he go?
He went to the Cardinals.
the Cardinals. No. Wasn't he just on the Cardinals?
He was on the Cardinals.
Yeah, they have James Conner still.
No, he's on Miami now. Drake.
Miami.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
He went from the
Miami.
Raiders to the Cardinals, did Jack on the
Sorry, we're
Cardinals, and then
fried,
they went to
Yeah,
the
that's-
Dolphins. Yeah, we're quite high.
That's kind of the
Yeah.
point of the show. Is just
Forgot to mention that.
Yeah. So it's like
think that's a noteworthy thing.
yeah. So if we go off a little bit, you could thank that.
Yeah, so if you enjoy just listening to 3 dudes that are stoned babble on about bullshit that they like, then this is
Like football and fantasy.
mostly football and fantasy. I mean, there's nothing better than just getting fried for a fucking football game and just watching it
Or
Just
for our drafts.
for our drafts,
Oh.
man.
The drafts are so fun.
Why do you think I won the championship? Like,
You got to draft high, everyone.
it's pretty. It's a formula. It's the secret formula.
I mean, I will say if you're an overthinker, actually getting high actually really helps.
It really
If you're,
does.
Chess, not checkers.
because I'm an overthinker 100%. I will sit there and I'll be like who the fuck am I gonna pick here? Like I will sit there for 10. Dude, when I'm fried, I go up there, I slap my pick up right away. Like I don't even fucking I don't waste time.
You get extra
like-
confident, like you know you're like that's what I do. I take like 3 seconds to make a pick, cause like you just figure it out before then.
Our draft's over in like the 4th round when it comes to the 14-man league.
Oh, yeah.
After that, you're drafting.
You're
After that, you're drafting
drafting
3rd-string wide
Fucking
receivers,
garbage.
I don't even like doing
practice
mock drafts.
squad players.
I don't even like doing mock drafts for the free agency league because this free agency league has 14 teams. So, like we said, after like the 4th round, you're just picking you're picking like Devontae Smith in the 4th round, and every mock draft you do, your team is so fucking ugly every single time. Like you have one position that's just awful on your team. Like,
Oh yeah, mock drafts. If you do a mock draft with that big of a league, it will actually psych you out.
yeah,
Because then you'll start questioning, oh, I really want this guy. And then you'll be like, oh, do I actually want this guy?
You really almost just got to go BPA and just try to have like a big 3 or like
Yep.
you kind of just got to have like just take the best guys whoever's going to put up the most fantasy points. Like
Yep. Dude, fucking that league is just it's just a gauntlet. It makes you shell shocked year after year.
it really is a gauntlet because and it's like everybody drafts pretty decent too. So except when Joe took Mike Evans in the 1st round last year.
I almost vomited.
Yeah, I
when
don't
he
know
did
what
that.
I was like. Joe, did you mean to do that? Like, were you trying to put up?
He was like, yeah.
I'm like,
And I was like, oh,
I couldn't believe I got Tyreek Hill
I can't believe
in the
this.
2nd round.
I went fucking Travis Kelce and Joe Mixon.
I wanted Travis Kelce so bad. in
I
the
felt
free
sick
agency league
doing
last
that,
year.
but
Joe Mixon panned out.
Yeah,
He
he
panned
did.
out.
Joe
Joe
Mixon had his best
played
year.
great last year.
It's because I didn't draft him anywhere.
You just can't draft anybody who's a big superstar. Same thing happened the year when DeAndre Hopkins
man, I
went
don't even
off.
wanna
You
talk
took him,
about
then he did
that.
terrible. Then I took him, and he had his best year
He
ever.
had his worst years, DeAndre Hopkins. I took him in the 1st round. Dean took David Johnson, the pick after. He had career season.
Hate to say
I
it.
think Dean won the championship that year too, if I remember correctly.
Well, it's also our league also always wins off of the waiver wires. It's very rarely is a draft.
Yeah, you
It's
really
normally the
do,
waivers,
man. I mean,
Because somebody's getting injured in a 14-man league. Somebody's
I
going
remember
down.
you got James Robinson, right, Brian, in free agency.
I got James Robinson made the playoffs in 2020. Then last year, I got Elijah Mitchell.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that was a
and
big one
Hunter
too.
Renfro. And having them with Travis Kelce and Joe Mixon and Kyler Murray whenever he decided he wanted to fucking play.
He had 100 receptions
And-
last year, didn't he?
Who?
Who?
Renfro?
No.
Didn't he have like 100
actually-
receptions for 1,000 yards?
I think he did
I
actually.
thought he had
Did
over
he have
100.
100
I thought he had
catches
over
last year?
100 receptions and like
I didn't-
124 targets.
That's actually really impressive.
I mean, I don't know, Mark.
Actually,
I don't
you know
keep
what?
fucking stats in my asshole.
I'm gonna
Oh, well,
double check
I mean,
this
I
to make
don't.
sure I'm not hammered real quick, but I'm pretty sure he had over 1,000 yards and 100 catches last year.
Please do that.
Shut up.
Yeah, you fucking encyclopedia.
HockeyMonkey.com.
HockeyMonkey.com. Yeah, he did 103 receptions for
Wow.
1,038 yards and 9 touchdowns.
5-yard dump
Yo, he
offs.
really did. It was just
He averaged
6-yard
10 yards.
dump off.
He averaged 10 yards a catch. That's all it was.
Yeah, I mean, Devontae Smith only averaged he averaged about 9 yards a catch last season, but I think that could help him too because I think he could do the same where he gets 90 catches for or 100 catches for 1,000 yards.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, Jalen Hurts isn't going to be throwing many, fucking.
They had a rookie getting double teamed last year.
He's not going to be throwing 70-yard bombs like Josh Allen.
No shot.
He's not going to be throwing those kinds of passes. So, I mean, I think that can really benefit Devontae Smith.
We want a timeout.
Do we?
Do we?
How much? What time
I
are
mean,
we
we're
at? No way.
yeah. I that's why I was like, do we want to?
I thought we were at 40.
No, we've been
Oh,
going.
yeah, we should definitely time out.
Yeah, timeout.
I mean, do we want to just close it out?
I was gonna
It's
say,
up to you.
how do we want to do? Do you guys want to do an outro, or do you just want to?
I mean, yeah, I
Just
guess we
cut
could
it.
just do an outro just
Let's-
to finish it off.
Yeah, finish it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So. All
Never
right.
know.
So I know there's probably some kinks to work out with this, and this is our first time on here, but I would like to thank anybody that listens to this. Thank you for listening to us fucking ramble
Yeah.
Yeah.
for a long ass time.
We're having fun.
We
so.
didn't even realize how long this went on for.
No, I really thought we were
Yeah.
at like. I didn't realize we were already at 50. That's wild.
So, yeah, I want to say thank you. I'm Brian Gold, and
I'm Tim Stewart.
I'm Mark.
thank you guys for listening to the Fantasy Buds podcast. We're out.
We'll see you next time.
See you next week.